I had a question posed to me about one of the quiz questions that I think is actually repeated several times as you're going through really all of these quizzes now that we're into hypothesis testing. And the question that I was asked about actually comes from quiz 8B, number 12. And what it says is, essentially, it's multiple choice, but it basically is saying, when can a small treatment effect be significant? And so what it's asking you to do is to really think about the formula that we're using to conduct our statistical test. And for the z-score, this looks like we're going to take the sample mean and we're going to subtract from that the mean of the distribution of sampling means, and we're going to divide that through by the standard error for the distribution of sampling means. And what we're trying to do with our statistical testing is that we really want our z to be big. Because if our z is big, that means it's moving away from the middle of the normal curve, and so we're going to be more likely to reject the null hypothesis. To make this big, in this question that I just mentioned to you, it says, what if there's a small treatment effect? So it's telling me that the numerator is small, is on the low side. So if the numerator is small and I want z to be big, then the only thing that I can impact is the denominator. Well, the formula for the denominator is that the standard error for the distribution of sampling means is the standard deviation for the population divided through by the square root of n. So if we're going to make z big, and we know that the numerator is small, then our only choice is to try to make the denominator also small. Sorry about that, started to go the wrong way. To make the denominator also small, okay? To make that small, we're going to want this to be small. To make that small, we're going to have a small standard deviation for the population, or we're going to have a large sample size. Doing both of those, of course, would have the greatest impact on standard error, which would then have an impact on our z-score. So the choices that were given in 8B number 12, the only choice that makes any sense is that increasing the sample size would increase our test statistic and increase our chances of rejecting the null. Other things that would do it are to decrease the variability of the population, and this wasn't a choice in this question, but to increase the treatment difference. We're going to talk about these things more when we get to especially independent samples t-test, because we have more control over all of these different factors that influence our test statistic. So we'll talk about those more soon. Okay, thanks. Bye.